How Japan finally made it impossible to make babies. Blame it on the anime. Chat, do we blame it on anime? Alright, but let's see what this guy's talking about.
Japan's population crisis is urgent.
Say less, bro.
Japan just recorded fewer than
We're never gonna talk about it.
700,000 births last year. That's the lowest in their history. And the government is panicking.
Whoa.
They're spending $25 billion a year to fix this. But nothing is working.
Okay.
People blame anime waifus for raising an entire generation of men of
I just said it.
or herbivore men who never learn to talk to girls because pixelated passion projects provide on-demand affection, drama, and climax. Those people projects provide on-demand affection, drama, and climax. Those people are wrong.
Prove me wrong then, buddy. Prove me the flip wrong. Shout out to Naruto. Shout out to Tsunade with the big watermelons, but come on. We can't lie to ourselves and say, yo, hentai, POV, JAV. Yes, I know all of it. I know. I'm exposing myself and everybody else at the same time, okay? That shit's a problem.
Those stories are just a sideshow. The real reason Japan is running out of babies isn't a lack of interest. It's a simple math problem that's impossible to solve.
I hate
Giving the
math.
whole country the Kumon kid face. In Japan today, having a family is an act of economic suicide for most young people. And the forces creating that reality are now spreading to the rest of the developed world.
The price of living, cost of living is so high. Like, you're not gonna have any kids. It's pretty much like what he said. It's pretty much suicide in GTA.
Let's start with the scale of what's happening. Japan's population peaked in 2008 at 128 million. By 2070, it's projected to drop to 87 million. That's losing the equivalent of Canada's entire population in 50 years.
Of course, but Canada
knows
though.
this is existential. They're spending trillions of yen
Shout out Canada.
annually
Drake.
trying to reverse the trend. None of it is working. But more on that later.
Who walks around with that kind of cash?
Now, most Western netizens love the cultural explanation. But when you actually look at the data, consumption rates for adult entertainment are similar to other
Whoa, huh? Do we mean the adult entertainment that we're talking about? Like, what we got in mind here? Yo, America's leading the pack again. America.
developed countries. France watches plenty of non-pixelated entertainment too. Their native birth rate is 1.7. Japan is 1.15.
The French
cultural theory
love their
being thrown
gooners.
around just doesn't hold up.
Wrong.
The real frame is simpler and much more structural. Japan's birth
Okay.
crisis is fundamentally a marriage crisis. And a marriage crisis is fundamentally an economic one.
What?
Economic crisis is fundamentally a gender crisis. Here's a stat that locks it in. France has nearly 3 in 5 births happening outside marriage. The UK is about half.
Okay.
Japan, 2%. If you're not married in Japan, you're almost certainly not having kids. And marriages are collapsing.
If you ask me, marriage is a trap.
Japan recorded
Is it though? Is it? God, chat, you gotta tell me. Anybody married in chat? If you're gonna get cheated on, if you're gonna walk in on the pound happening, it might be a trap. Because all of a sudden, you guys put your finances right. Getting married is not cheap. Shit.
fewer than 500,000 marriages for the 3rd year in a row in 2025. The lowest levels since 1933, when the population was half of what it is today.
Okay.
So the question isn't, why aren't Japanese people having kids? The question is, why is getting married becoming impossible? And that's where the bosses come in.
Bring the bosses in.
If you like these sorts of deep dives, please like and sub.
Shout out Jonathan Tam. Dr. Tam.
The dating numbers tell the full story. A third of young people express no interest in romantic relationships at all. Among men in their 20s, nearly half have never had a girlfriend.
Oi.
1 in 6 plan to never marry.
Oi.
Now, here's
Hold on, bro.
what-
Why are we showing only Asians here? That's a little. Come on. Is it only us Asians that got this problem? No way, right? No. No.
What makes this interesting? The total fertility rate among married Japanese couples is 1.91. It's below replacement, but it's not a crisis. The crisis comes from the fact that fewer and fewer people are getting married in the first place, and that's where the social forces come in. Japanese women face what sociologists call the M-shaped employment curve,
What?
but to a young woman in Tokyo, it doesn't look like a letter. It looks like a career-ending cliff that you're expected to walk off the moment you say, I do.
I don't want to get married.
Women start their career
So we're blaming it on the women. Over here in America, alright, no stereotypes being said, but there's a lot of people who got baby mamas, okay? There's a lot of baby mamas out there. Alright, we're getting a lot of kids being born. pretty much on a daily here in America. I don't even think we got a population problem over here. In Japan, though, it looks like they ain't got no baby mamas, and that might be a problem. So let's start spicing things up. Rhino pills, Viagra, ED medicine. Take it.
You graph this out, it looks like a giant letter M. You start your career here, you drop off here to have kids, and you try to climb back up. But in Japan, that middle dip is more like a cliff. This happens because Japanese workplaces still operate on the assumption that mothers will step back from careers. When a woman sees that having a baby means losing their career, and that they'll still have to do all the chores at home, the trade-off becomes impossible. Marriage stops looking like a team effort and starts looking like a trap. But even for couples who want to break through that bottleneck and get married, they hit a secondary wall, the economic one.
Okay. But there's economic problems all over the world, isn't there?
After Japan's economy crashed in the 90s, the job market split in two. Instead of steady, forever jobs, half of all young men now work gig jobs. These are part-time or contract roles with no
gig jobs.
Young men now work gig jobs. These are part-time or contract roles with no safety net and no promise for the future. Think of adult life in Japan as a game you have to beat, but the bosses keep getting bigger. Research has found a magic number.
Explain.
Men need to earn about 3 million yen a year to afford to get married. That's $20,000.
Okay, oh, never mind.
7 out of 10 men can't beat it. They're not even hitting the starting line. The marriage data reflects it. Among men with non-regular employment, only about 1 in 5 get married. Among men with regular employment, more than half do. But the problem is, 40% of young men don't have a stable regular job.
Interesting.
And even if you clear the income threshold, you're still facing the same boss. Because level 2 second health bar is housing. In Tokyo,
don't get me started.
Condos now average over 100 million yen in the greater area as of 2025. City center units
100 million yen, what is that? $630,000 for a what? For a small apartment in Tokyo.
closer to 150 million yen.
That's
Prices keep
pricey.
rising, with some places jumping nearly 40% in a single year.
No, that's
You're
the
renting a
dude,
family-sized
what?
place, you're easily looking at 1,300 to 2,300 USD for about 500 square feet of actual living space. That's the size of a 2-car garage.
Whoa, give me some time to take all this in, because what?
And when the cost to raise a child through junior high school is over $100,000, that Kuban kid face just isn't about homework anymore.
Homework? What homework?
Now, you've probably seen the viral videos.
Don't get me
Beautiful
started.
traditional Japanese houses for $500, sometimes free. The internet loves these stories. Just move to rural Japan and live the dream. But here's what those videos won't tell you. For most young Japanese, those homes aren't a solution. They're a form of economic exile. And there's a very specific reason nobody is actually taking them.
Okay, what
While
is it?
Japan has about 9 million vacant homes, the sad reality is career advancement only exists in cities.
I said that.
Some rural areas
I'm
will
OG,
give
I'm
you a
smart.
house for almost nothing.
I'm smart.
So you stay in Tokyo, you pay the rent, you fight through level 2. But staying in the game has a cost, because you'll meet the level 3 boss.
Chat, what's level 3? Chat, what's level 3? The overworked swamp. Oh, hell no.
Japan's work culture makes family formation structurally impossible. Roughly 10% of the entire workforce, millions of people, are logging over 80 hours of overtime every month.
Yo,
That's 2 full extra work weeks on top of their regular hours.
12-hour days.
Over
Okay.
half of the workforce reports serious work-related stress. Among people working 60-plus hour weeks, more than 1 in 4 suspect they have depression or anxiety.
Facts.
The level 3 boss is the maintenance cost of staying in the game, and it never stops. It's a tax you pay every
Also known as everyone in Japan is stuck in the rat race. It's just explained that way. Everyone in Japan is stuck in a rat race.
Wives handle 5 times more housework than husbands. And here's the part that breaks
Dad.
the system. Even women doing a full-time job still do 25 hours of housework.
Oh, Dad.
That's 65 or more hours of labor a week, working 2 jobs, one of which doesn't have a paycheck or a lunch break. Both of which make you feel like
L man, L dad, L dudes, for real. Hey, look, you gotta find a way to split it up, bro. You gotta find a way to help out your woman. If you're married with a wife and she got a kid, dude, stop watching TV. I don't care if you're flipping work and do something for the woman. Help them out. W feminism.
In Japanese offices, there's a secret rule for pregnant women. It is not just mean comments, it's a quiet pressure to make them feel like they don't belong. They call it matahara, a combination of maternity and harassment. A series of hints that they aren't part of the team anymore. They get skipped for big projects or hear whispers that they aren't dedicated to the job. A legislator named Matsumoto described what she saw in her office. There was only one mommy in the whole division. She was always saying, "Sorry, I'm sorry, I have to go home." It was very sad. That's the culture. Parenthood as apology. But the system isn't just breaking women.
Reward the parents then,
men too.
jeez.
Fewer than 1 in 3 fathers make it home in time for family dinner. You're technically part of the family, but you're never actually there. Your kids don't
Yo, who cares about that? That's a kind of irrelevant stat. Sorry, doctor, but if you're anything like me, Dad was never home for dinner. Dude, Dad was never home for dinner. Oh boy.
Japan's parental leave policy.
I mean, that's
looks
like
generous
a
on paper.
that's a you problem, I
Only
think.
roughly 2 in
if you're
5
making a big
men
deal out of that.
actually took paternity leave in 2024. The law gives you the right, but the culture treats it like a betrayal. Taking time off to care for your child signals you aren't committed to the team. You're technically allowed
Make the most
to
out of
leave,
it, I guess.
but everyone knows what it costs you. So men stay. They work the overtime.
Yeah, stay
and
and
they
work,
become the absent
produce,
father. the
I guess,
system
become the
demands.
breadwinner, I guess, right?
But here's the final variable in the math that makes family formation truly impossible. It's called double care. A growing number of workers, mostly women in their 30s and 40s, are being crushed by a simultaneous demand, providing childcare for their kids and elderly care for their parents at the same time.
Oh, shit.
1 in 10 facing that double duty quit work entirely. 8 out of 10 of those are women. When young people look at the future, they aren't just calculating the cost of diapers, they're calculating the likelihood they'll be spending their peak career years doing decades of unpaid work for 2 different generations who rely on them.
Ooh. That was deep.
Called the stalled gender revolution. Women
What?
started working full-time, but things at home didn't change. Men didn't start doing more chores. Government didn't build enough
dude.
support.
Oh,
It was
dude.
half of a revolution that just stopped. Even after the massive push for womenomics in the last decade under late Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, the problem remains.
Rest in peace.
Women face matahara in a labor market that still operates on 1970s assumptions about who does the unpaid work at home. Because the revolution stalled, men are trapped in a 1970s breadwinner identity that
Okay.
requires the kind of hours that make active fatherhood impossible. The lack of interest in relationships we saw earlier
True.
isn't a mystery. It's what happens when the culture demands you to be a breadwinner, but the economy won't let you home for dinner. Nobody wins, and fewer people are choosing to play. The government sees declining birth
True.
rates and thinks the solution is making children more affordable. But the real problem is the entire social structure makes family formation incompatible with economic survival and career advancement.
It makes sense. Yo, that makes a lot of sense. What's the policy
In
response?
2023,
Prime Minister.
Prime Minister Kishida called this Japan's last chance. He said, Japan is standing on the verge of whether we can continue to function as a society. As I said earlier, government is
probably
spending
not.
$25 billion annually on this. But they're hiding a piece of data that proves they already know it's failing. Internal government projections have shown that even spending trillions of yen more would barely move the needle, a reality they rarely admit
Okay.
while announcing these massive budget packages. I'll show you that data in just a second.
俺になんか隠しとらへん。
First, look at what they're actually
W
trying.
anime.
Families get
That was a good one.
15,000 yen, roughly $100 per month for each child under 3. If you have 3 or more children, university is tuition free and that stipend doubles.
You know what? Easy solution. Just start fucking. Alright, they literally, dudes and women, just gotta start fucking, okay? Get the kids out there, start having kids. Just start, like, boom, 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 pop 'em. Boom, 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 pop. Like, that's the way we gotta pump it out like a machine.
Tokyo spent 300 million yen on a government dating app. 31
What?
of Japan's 47 prefectures now offer AI matchmaking services. They're trying to get people to leave Tokyo, so the government offers 1 million yen, about $7,000, per child for families willing to move from Tokyo to rural areas. By 2022,
Ah.
fewer than 2,400 people had taken that deal because the jobs are in the city. They didn't update the data since then, probably because there are so few takers. They also reformed work hours. New laws cap overtime at 45 hours per month, 360 hours per year. But there's a catch. Companies can use special clauses to push that limit to 100 hours. The government's goal is to let 85% of men take paternity leave, but none of it is working.
85?
Conditions. Take it or leave it.
Professor
not gonna
Masakazu
happen.
Yamauchi from Waseda University puts it
Hospital.
rising living costs, persistent gendered divisions of labor,
Okay.
and long-standing patterns of delayed marriage cannot be solved by cash alone.
True.
Most Japanese people doubt these policies will actually work. And
probably
here's why
won't.
they're right. The dating app assumes the problem is that people can't find each other,
Nope.
but young people are meeting just fine.
Hey, I'm not going into politics here, but
New reforms passed in 2024 aimed to bring in 1.23 million workers by 2028. That's an intake of roughly 250 to 300,000 people every year. A record pace for a
Jeez.
country that has historically been one of the most closed in the world. But this creates cultural tension. And with the election of Sanae Takaichi, the Japanese are rejecting immigration as the solution.
okay.
It seems like the country is now stuck with a ticking demographic time bomb. I'm dropping a deep dive on this soon, so if you want to understand why one of the world's most advanced economies is terrified of the one thing that could save it, hit sub and click the bell.
All right, what's gonna save it though? Immigration? Yo, we're not getting into politics here, okay? But is it immigration though?
In 1980, Japan had about 7 working age people for every retiree. It was a classic population pyramid, a wide base of young workers supporting a small number of elderly. Today, that pyramid hasn't just flattened, it's inverted.
Huh?
It's what demographers call a coffin shape. We are currently at 1.4
GGs.
workers for every
GGs.
retiree. By 2050, that ratio is projected to hit 1-to-1. Think about what a 1-to-1 society looks like. It means every single person working a job is effectively carrying a retiree on their back.
Yo.
Their taxes and healthcare premiums aren't building the future. They're just paying for the past. While the government spends
GGs.
25 billion on babies, Japan's total social security bill runs over $1 trillion.
I'm not gonna lie to you either. I don't think Japan got any hoods. Like if Japan had the ghettos, the hoods. Now, no stereotypes being said. No offense, respectfully, the population would go back to normal.
Japan faces a shortage of 11 million workers, roughly the entire population of Greece.
Okay.
Japan's response
Greece
isn't to give
small.
up, it's to automate. Japan produces over a third of the world's industrial robots, more than any country except China. We're seeing Raicho
Whoa.
robots in agriculture. Work that used to take 20 hours now takes 1. In convenience
What?
stores, the lifeblood of Japanese cities, are now experimenting with fully autonomous staff.
No,
Japan is
no,
betting
no,
everything
no, no,
on
no.
robots to fix the worker shortage. While it may solve the labor shortage, it doesn't solve the social shortage.
Robots do everything faster.
Financially speaking, this
Shout out
demographic coffin keeps the
Futurama.
economy stuck. Japanese households are sitting on nearly $14 trillion in financial assets, the majority of it controlled by people over 65, and they aren't investing it in the future. They keep it in safe bets. Banks, utilities, and old school industries.
Such as?
Meanwhile,
Such as?
the shrinking younger generation is doing the opposite. They're sending their capital out of Japan into global index funds so they can capture the high upside of future growth.
Smart dudes.
This is a form of financial hollowing. The domestic economy loses its growth engine because the old money is too scared to move and the young money is already gone. This is what happens when society stops producing the one thing an economy needs to survive: new people.
Bada bing,
Can't
bada
grow
boom.
without a new generation
Boom, boom,
to
bop.
drive it. If you're watching this outside of Japan, you might think, that's interesting, but it's a Japan problem. You're wrong. Japan isn't an outlier. It's a preview, running about 20 years ahead of the curve. And other developed countries are following the same
Okay, yeah,
trajectory.
Korea,
Just look at the data.
Greece.
Even North
Ain't
America,
happening to
isn't-
America though, is it?
they are below replacement level. The US and Canada are only maintaining population growth through immigration. Always need to grow to survive. What we're seeing in Japan is what happens when the rules of life stop making sense. The economy asks for more work than a family can handle. Lives have
Facts.
changed, but the way we work and live at home simply hasn't caught up. It's become too expensive for most people to even start a middle-class life.
True,
The young people
true.
in Japan aren't lazy or broken. They're looking at the cost of a house, the long hours at work, the lack of help, and they realize the deal is no longer fair. So
They quit the
they're making
game.
only choice
They
that
quit
makes
and uninstalled the
sense.
game.
They're protecting their own lives instead of a system that doesn't support them. Japan's the first to face it, but the curve is coming for everyone. The question is whether the rest of us are paying attention to what the math is telling us about our own futures.
Study the
If you
math,
like this
dude.
video, you'll like this one. Don't forget to like and sub.
W Dr. Tam. That was actually a good video. It makes a lot of sense too. My solution though. Hear me out. My solution though, right? My solution. Endorse my solution. Boom boom pop. Doesn't matter where the kids are at. As long as they're alive, boom boom pop.